for our community. I've taken the time to talk to as many people as possible in our town, and they too are excited about this possibility. I have to say, since my husband and I live directly across from where the restaurant is proposed, to be that we are the ones most impacted by this new development and zone change. We are fully supportive of this opportunity for our town and hope you will vote in favor of this zone change. That's sincerely Lori Roberts. The next item from Kim Bauer, no address. I am writing to you in hopes for a zone change on Route 31 Roberts property. We are excited to have a nice restaurant in our hometown. As you know, we have very few family-oriented businesses in Bridgeport, and not to mention the lack of a grocery store. I thank you for all you do to continue making our hometown a place we can be proud to raise a family. Again, that's by Kim Bauer. Next one is signed Christy Brown, no address. I am writing in regard to the request by Don Roberts to change his property to general commercial. It is my understanding there is pending for this property, and the new owners are planning a new restaurant. I am in favor of this change. Having a restaurant in our community is much needed. We have so many fast food options, but this would provide a healthy alternative and a place to dine in. We do have a diner that has not reopened, and honestly, the food isn't the best. We need this kind of growth in our community. I am located down the road from this proposed site, and I have no concerns. I encourage you to go forward with a zone change so we have the opportunity for this new restaurant. Again, signed by Christy Brown.
Excuse me, Mr. Meyer.
Yeah.
I just got an email from two people that they can't find the meeting on YouTube. Can
Okay.
someone check that for us, please?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Can someone
It should-
check that for us?
Okay,
It should
sure.
be good now, Judy. If they refresh, they should see it.
Okay, I'll pass
Okay.
it along. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next one is from Jay Luther, North Syracuse, no street address. I'm aware there's a second zone change vote on the June 24th agenda for the property located on State Route 31 in Bull Street, tax map 07201, 11.3. This property has been vacant unused for many years, and I believe that if it can be utilized for the betterment of the community, I'm in favor of that. There's my understanding that there is a possibility of a restaurant being placed on that parcel of land if the zone change is approved, and I am in favor, I'm in full support of that as well. A restaurant is definitely needed in Bridgeport as there is not a lot of variety in the immediate area. Therefore, please take notice that I am fully in support of this zone change. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter, and I look forward to hearing the results of your vote. Last one is from Jamie Oswald. I looked at the agenda for tonight's meeting. It looks like this proposed zone change will be approved at tonight's meeting. Where other property owners notified as per the conversation from the June 10th meeting. The Roberts family is not happy with me for raising concerns. I find it unfair that it was left to my husband and I, as the only property owners notified, that we carry the burden of raising concerns when other neighbors should be notified. Thank you, Jamie Oswald. Speaking for myself, not any of the members of the board, or the town board in general, there was some discussion about further notification, but speaking only for myself, I thought it would be not fair to all the parties to change the notifications in the middle of a change while we were in the middle of the discussion. To change the rules in the middle of the process, in my personal opinion, would not have been appropriate. So that being said, Mr. Carp.
Well, I read the resolution, Mr. Meyer, but it does strike me that we don't have a seeker resolution on the agenda. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Germain, that we should first pass a resolution saying this is a type 2 action for the purposes of seeker compliance. Robert? You're muted. You're muted, Mr. Germain.
Sorry about that. How's that?
Better.
Yeah, before you vote, there should be a seeker determining that this is type 2 for the purpose of seeker compliance and that there's no unmitigated effects on the environment.
Doesn't require any action by any outside of permitting agencies. I have the language, yeah.
Correct. Or the preparation of a DEIS.
If there's objection, Mr. Carp, would you like to introduce the resolution for the seeker?
I will.
Thank you.
Move the adoption of resolution declaring the town's action to approve the zone change on the specified parcel as proposed by local law number 7 of 2020 is a type 2 action for the purposes of seeker compliance. The proposed action will not have negative impact on the environment and involves no other permit granting authorities outside the town. Accordingly, the proposed action does not require the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement or any further seeker action prior to adoption.
Quick question, did we close public input?
No, he did not.
Guys, also, instead of type 2, I think it's an unlisted action.
Okay. I would modify the resolution to specify unlisted.
Okay, I'm just going to ask the board members to just give the clerk a moment to get the item together for the seeker. Are you all set, Tracy? Okay. We went a little bit out of agenda as far as that, but we had concurrence to do that. So I think we have a motion, Mr. Carp. I believe we need a second on this.
You do.
I will second, Councilor Bicallo.
Okay. Yes, McCollum. Discussion on the item on the floor. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
I will abstain.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
yes,
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. It's approved. Okay, Jonathan, back to the zone change portion.
Well, I made the motion. We're closing public input. I received the same emails that you did, Mr. Meyer. Are you looking for board comment at this time or?
Yes, yeah, please.
Okay, well, the motion hasn't been seconded, but I'm happy to comment.
Councilor Bicallo, I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm sympathetic to the concerns that were raised at the last meeting. You know, some people are concerned about the impact. They like the wooded area. I'm certainly sympathetic to that, but the property is still available to be developed for agricultural, even if we don't grant the zone change. There's no guarantee that was going to remain forever wild. And even in the agricultural district, if you look at the town code, there are a number of other uses that would probably be just as detrimental, if that is the right word, to the quality of life or the enjoyment of the property as a restaurant. So, well, while I'm sympathetic, I don't think that denying this is really going to alleviate those concerns of those nearby residents, because ultimately that property is probably going to be developed. You know, Bridgeport is growing. We've got a lot of traffic coming through there because of the casino, and someone at some point will want to develop it. And again, they could put a tourist home or a bed and breakfast there, or a veterinary hospital there in agricultural, well, it's a little bit small for a quarry, a school, outdoor recreation. There's a lot of things that could go there that would take away the woods and still involve traffic coming in and out. So, you know, while I'm sympathetic to those concerns, I don't see them as really providing a justification for denying this zone change. So I'm going to be a yes vote.
Okay. Further discussion on the item on the floor? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
I abstain.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
yes,
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
No, the item passes. I voted no, the item passes. Okay, next item, Judy, number 5, public.
Okay. The public hearing to consider approving, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm hearing fine.
Okay. I'll start again. Approving no parking on the west side of Walnut Street between Bennett and Riverfront Park parking lot. Whereas the recent improvements to Walnut Street and Riverfront Park create a need for Walnut Street from Bennett Street to Riverfront Park's parking lot to remain accessible to two-way, and whereas the width of the road does not lend itself to adequate spacing for two-way traffic for vehicles, including emergency vehicles, if vehicles are allowed to park along the curb. And whereas it is intention of this local law to keep Walnut Street open to two-way traffic in and out of Riverfront Park parking lot until a permanent parking lot is built on Bennett Street parcel. And whereas the east side of Walnut Street is already designated as no parking, now therefore be it resolved that a public hearing will be held on June 24th, 2020, commencing at 6:30 PM local time, to be held according to COVID revised public notice and procedures, to consider the adoption of a local law number 8 of the year 2020 prohibiting parking on the west side of Walnut Street in Brewerton, north portion between Bennett Street and Riverfront Park entrance. The local law, if enacted, will also allow for the installation of appropriate no parking signs.
Second, Council Bicallo.
Just for the record, I did not receive any emails or fax or communication on this, either for or against. Comments from the board? So question, are you comfortable with it at this point, or would you like it to be, keep the public hearing portion open and wait till the 22nd of July?
I see no reason to wait, because I was down in that area over the weekend.
Okay,
And with the high traffic and the folks that are using the park, it was a little congested at time, but the folks were redirected. So I really think the no signs and all of that's going to help the situation.
Bill, I want to mention that the
Jody
Brewerton
Rogers is on. Yep, thank you.
Fire Department, Chief Levery, they had no concerns on their end, and they believe it'll help with access for them in case there is some kind of emergency to get their apparatus in and out of the park.
Okay. Further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
Yes. Don't we have to close the public hearing?
Yeah, well, you had that, you were doing that part, so. Okay, further item, no further item. I'll have the clerk make note of the time and close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Duly noted. Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Nancy White, would you like to take number 6, please?
Set public hearing for July 22nd, 2020, to consider a zone change for a property on Totman Road, tax map number 055-02-26.2. Whereas the property owner of Totman Road, tax map number 055-02-26.2, has requested a zone change. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board sets Wednesday, July 22nd, 2020 at 6:30 PM for a public hearing to consider a zone change from agricultural to industrial for tax map number 055-02-26.2.
Second, Councilor Bicallo.
Discussion on number 6? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
Yes.
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Judy, would you like to take number 7, please?
Yes. The tree removal in parks and cemetery. Whereas the trees at Plank Road Park and William Park are dead from emerald ash borer, and trees along the property line at Taft Settlement Cemetery are also dead and a hazard. Now therefore be it resolved that the town contracts with on-site development to remove 26 plus trees and grind the stumps at Plank Road Park and William Park, as well as remove 6 plus trees at Taft Settlement Cemetery under Onondaga County contract number 968-88 in the amount of $21,800. Budget codes are A711045 and dash at $13,200 and A711044 for $2,000 and A7150 at $1,200 and A88104 for $5,400.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Discussion on number 7.
I'd like to make a comment before
Sure.
Jody does. That
Sure.
this ash disease is created havoc, particularly out along the lake shore. And as I saw it at Plank Road Park, and we've got to get these trees down because they're killing them faster than we can cut them down.
Thank you, Ms. Boyke. Further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Judy, number 8.
the board approves the hiring of recreation leader. Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department has the need to fulfill a recreation leader position for scheduled programs. Now therefore it be resolved that the town board approves the hiring of the following employee with a posted pay rate and effective date, Melissa Dower, at $45 an hour, effective August 1st, 2020, budget code B702013.
Need a second.
Second.
I'm sorry, Jonathan got it? Did I hear that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Discussion on number 8. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes,
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Judy, number 9.
transfer of canteen administration duties to Tony Broccoli. Whereas Jody Rogers is retiring and she is currently receiving budget compensation for the Canteen Youth Bureau duties. And whereas the canteen portion of the director's duties will be transferred to Tony Lynn Broccoli, due to her institutional knowledge of the program, grants, funding, and reimbursement deadlines effective July 19th, 2020. Now therefore be it resolved that Tony Lynn Broccoli will begin receiving the budgeted annual compensation of $8,467 for assuming the canteen responsibilities beginning July 19th, 2020, budget code B73101.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Discussion on number 9.
I would just like to thank Tony Lynn for taking on this additional duties. She does a great job over there and she's the best person for it.
And I also wanted to comment that Jody being the great teacher and Tony being alongside of her with the canteen for so many years, that it's a blessing that we have Tony there to pick up.
Jody, do you want to add any final comments?
No, Nancy and Judy said it exactly as it is. She's the best person to take on the responsibilities, and she's worked shoulder to shoulder with me all these years. And if the biggest thing is if we miss any deadlines, our funding immediately stops, whether it's federal, state, county. So it's very critical that we maintain the relationship. So yes, thank you. I'm good.
Further comments on number 9? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes,
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Judy, number 10.
Cicero PBA donation. Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department purchased flowers for the flower bed on Route 31 and Party Road. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board accepts the donation of $74.46 from the Cicero PBA as reimbursement to the town for purchase of flowers that will be deposited in budget code A711040.
Counselor White, second.
Discussion on this item? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes,
Counselor
Aye.
Carr, Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item number 10 is adopted. Number 11, the board approves a $2,400 cash donation from an anonymous Brewerton resident Whereas on June 9th, 2020, a town of Cicero resident who wanted to remain anonymous stopped by the Cicero Police Department to show their support for their local police and make a monetary donation of $2,400 for any needed supplies or equipment for the police department. Now therefore it be resolved that the town board approves the donation of a $2,400 for the police department by an anonymous town of Cicero resident.
Second, Counselor Bicallo.
Discussion on this item? Clerk will call.
It's fantastic that I think it's fantastic that our police are doing a good enough job that someone wanted to stop by and drop off $2,400 anonymous donation in cash. I think that's excellent. It speaks very
Fantastic.
well to the
Fantastic.
department.
Yep. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
yes,
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo.
Chief, I appreciate everything that you and your team has been doing, and then this is a testament to that. Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Number 11 is adopted. Mr. Bacallo, number 12.
Approve additional amount for screener rental. Sorry, phone's ringing. Apologize about that. Approve additional amount for screener rental. Whereas the highway department needs to add to the dollar amount for delivery of the rental screener that was not previously quoted. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board approves the additional amount of $250 for the total purchase order of $15,250 to Tracy Road Equipment for the amount code DB 511041.
Need a second.
Second.
second, Judy Boyke,
Okay, second. Discussion on this item? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
yes,
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Item is adopted. Michael, number 13.
Approve payment of the town and county real property tax bills. Whereas Onondaga County prepares and prints the town and county tax bills on behalf of the town of Cicero. And whereas the printing of the tax bills results in a charge of $1 a parcel for 13,998 parcels. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board approved the payment of $13,998 to Onondaga County for printing of the 2020 town and county tax bills, budget code A13304.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Thank you, Mrs. Blakey. Nicole Walsh, would you like to add something about that fee, please?
Just that most towns regularly pay $2 per parcel, but because we use the e-tax program, which is the program that Onondaga County does, they reduced our charge to only $1 a parcel because of the time and energy on the reconciliation that the county saves on for us using the same program. Also, by using that program, we save money because they pay for the licensing fees for us to use it. So right now we're currently saving about $14,000 in the tax bill printing and then all the licensing fee money by using the e-tax program.
And we did not have to pay for the program.
Yep.
Right. So that's $14,000. Great job. Discussion on number 13.
Is that more like $1,000?
I'm sorry?
Isn't
But
that more like $1,000?
no, we
13,000.
paid $13,998 we saved. And then on top of that, we were spending $7,000 in licensing fees. So between the two of that, it's about $21,000 total.
Thank you for that correction.
That's
Mhm.
that's a good thing. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Blakey.
yes,
Counselor Carr.
Aye.
Counselor White.
Yes.
Counselor Bicallo.
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. Number 14, approve emergency purchase of acrylic panels. Whereas the town of Cicero offices need acrylic panels to protect the town of Cicero staff from COVID-19 and other viruses. And whereas the design shops and graphics have the expertise and skill to provide high quality product at a competitive price in a timely manner to expedite the needed protection of the staff and public. Now therefore it be resolved, Cicero Town Board approves the emergency purchase of acrylic panels from Design Shop and Graphics Cicero, New York, for $1,886, budget code A16204.
I'll second
Second,
that.
Counselor Bicallo.
Mr. McCallum, thank you. Discussion on number 14.
Bill, when I asked you, I know that we had already purchased some. I was just curious as how many more we need and who are they for?
Okay, I believe I sent a response out on that. It's for the panels inside the offices. The first one was for the panels that were in the doorways. Then we had some consultation with our safety person and then going through the CDC guidelines and OSHA guidelines. Because a lot of the folks are on the phone and in close quarters, a lot of the offices are very close, one person to another. They recommended, so that they didn't have to have mask on all the time, to have a physical barrier like the acrylic. That way, better protection and better communication. So that's where the 1886 comes from.
All right, well, I was just curious because I know that we had done some of the freestanding shields. And I was just curious where the other ones were we going
Right.
to set those up.
Right. Well, way back when they initially told us it was going to be a 2-week deal. Obviously, that didn't quite happen. And because it was supposed to be that 2-week deal, we're going to get the public right in. There's a great deal of demand for this product, like, in the stores or wherever. So the first emergency part was to protect the public and the workers if they were going to be at our counters. So that part was taken care of first. And then once it was apparent that the workers are going to be in close proximity over an extended period of time, then it led to this next phase.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. Further questions, further discussion on number 14? Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Aye.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Number 14 is adopted. Nancy White, number 15.
Capital project. Resolved that the town board approves payment to the following budget code H16202 capital fund, $4,717.50 to MRB Group.
Need a
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Boyke.
Second, yes.
Discussion on number 15. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Boyke,
Yes.
Counselor Carr,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. Number 15 is adopted. Number 16, Jonathan.
Whereas the town of Cicero is one of the larger and more complex town governments in upstate New York, and whereas the town of Cicero needs financial expertise, we'll just call it financial expertise, and advice to properly manage the finances of the complex town, and whereas Shirley Stewart has served as comptroller for the town of Cicero and has considerable knowledge and insight into the finances of the town of Cicero, now therefore be it resolved, the town of Cicero approves the attached municipal service agreement with Shirley Stewart to provide professional municipal oversight of the town of Cicero. There should be oversight, SIGHT. The town of Cicero Comptroller's Office, effective July 13th, 2020, for 40 hours per month, the standard billing amount of $4,000 per month, budget code A13154.
Okay, the clerk will make note of the proper wording in that resolution. Thank you. Discussion on number 16.
Well, a couple things. One,
Did
practically.
we get a second, John?
Oh, no, I don't think we did. Sorry.
I'll second. Counselor Bicallo.
Thank you.
Maybe I'm being pedantic, but there's 4.3 weeks in a month, not 4 weeks in a month. So my understanding was she was anticipating working 10 hours per week at $100 an hour, but that would be really 43 hours per month. So maybe I'm being pedantic, but it doesn't really line up quite with the number of weeks actually that there are in a month. Since the resolution as written didn't say it, I'd just like to put it out there for the public, if anyone is watching this, that this is not an indefinite agreement. By its terms, it's effective through September 30th, 2020, renewable by a mutual agreement of both sides in 30-day increments thereafter. that there is an ongoing interview process for a new comptroller. You know, and I assume we are still accepting, I know we only had 2 applications so far. I assume, Mr. Meyer, we are still accepting applications, are we not?
I was contacted by one person who may be putting in a application, but you're right, Mr. Carp. To the moment, we have 2.
Okay, but we're not accepting them though, correct? We're
Correct.
still accepting them? Okay. All right, I just wanted to, you know, clarify because the resolution as written did not, you know, says when it begins, but did not specify an ending date. So that's all I had to say about that. I do believe that we need some continued service from Ms. Stewart, who has served us for so long. If for no other reason, she's retiring, I think July 10th. Is it effective, Ms. Stewart? Was it July 10th you're retiring?
The
11th?
7th.
7th, okay, not that you're counting. And, you know, certainly the new person would need to be hired and get up to speed, you know, and so there would need to be at least some overlap. So I'm happy that she is willing to stay on for a little while, and we will see where that goes and see how the interview process goes.
We have a second by Mr. Bacallo. Do we have further discussion? 16.
I do myself continuing to look at it and looking at the agreement. I obviously have been contacted and with concerns from the folks of the town, feeling that the $100 an hour is excessive. And also, I have a few concerns about the contract itself as far as providing equipment or providing software when in fact we hire someone to do the job, that they come with their own equipment.
I plan,
Or they're,
Mrs. Boyke, I will have my own equipment. I am not utilizing the town's equipment.
well, the way I'm sorry, Shirley, I'm just reflecting on what I received. And it just says that we will provide, you know, you with hardware, with software, and all of that.
But I think
So
that, Mrs. Boyke, I think that's in there because I have to utilize the town's software. I still have to get into the accounting software. I have to utilize the email. I think that's why that language is there. Now, I have my own computer, my own laptop.
I understand that. Now, as far as the confidentiality and as far as you being off-site with towns, with this information, will all of this be going through our mainframe?
Correct.
And, all right, well, anyway, and why are you leaving on the 7th? That's in the middle of the week. Why are you leaving on the 10th?
Because I have a payroll to run on the 6th.
Yeah,
Well, would you like me to not do the payroll on the 6th? I'm trying to make it easier for everybody.
no,
So
I know. If you do it on the 6th, then you retire the next day. Why aren't you retiring on the 10th? That's Friday. I'm sorry. I just don't understand. But anyway, my opinion right now is I believe we still have time when we're interviewing. I would like to table this until the next, because we are calling a special board meeting. So I'd like to table it. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Counselor Boyke, if you would like to table it, I don't see why. I would definitely support that. I would support tabling it as well.
I don't see any need to table it. I mean, even if we were to hire someone tomorrow, we would need some overlap. The agreement is cancelable by either party with 30 days notice. You know, I understand Ms. Boyke's concerns. We're going to need her for a short time anyway. So, and the next special meeting is at the day after she retires. So I don't see a need to table it at this time. Like I said, if we hire someone, that person comes in, immediately knows the job, and the town decides they don't need Ms. Stewart anymore, we give her 30 days notice. She gets paid for 30 days, and that's the end of it. I think we're going to need her for longer than that, but I'm just saying, I don't see a lot of danger here, and I don't see any reason to table it.
Comment by Mrs. White. Do you have anything, Nancy?
Well, I agree with Mr. Carb. I don't see any reason to table this. We'll definitely need her at least for the 1 month, possibly past November, depending on how quickly the new person picks up and how quickly we actually hire the new person. If we've only had 2 applications, it's very possible that neither of them are either qualified or want the job. I don't see any reason to table it either. I think we should go forward.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table. Clerk will call the roll on tabling item.
Yes, to table.
Counselor Carp,
No.
White,
No,
Counselor Bacallo,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
No, the tabling motion fails. We're back to the main motion. Mr. Carp, you have the main motion. Any discussion on the main motion?
I have nothing further.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have on my notes a second on that item. Mr.
I did,
Bacall,
Bill.
okay, you did.
I did, Bill. Yep.
I'm sorry, thank you. I did not have a note. Thank you for your help. Clerk will call the roll on number 16.
Counselor Blakey,
No.
Counselor Carp,
Yes.
White,
yes,
Counselor Bacallo,
No.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes. 16 is adopted. Number 17, authorizing corrective action plan to be sent to New York State Comptroller and updating the New York State, I apologize. And updating the town procurement policy, whereas the New York State Comptroller completed an audit of the town of Cicero for the period beginning January 1st, 2018 and ending on May 31st, 2019, with extended audit period back to January 1st, 2016, suggesting actions to better document financial transactions. And whereas the town board wishes to update the town procurement policy approved on January 2nd, 2020, now therefore be resolved, the town board authorizes forwarding the enclosed corrective action plan in the updated procurement policy to the New York State Comptroller's office and approves the updated town of Cicero procurement policy. Need a second.
second, Counselor White.
Okay. Mr. Stewart, would you please go over the items and go through the calendar of events as far as the review with Onondaga County and the State Comptroller's office?
Yes, after our audit, we did meet, Mr. Myers and myself met with the county purchasing department. And we went over our procurement policy and we went over bidding procedures and they helped us a great deal. And in doing that, then I took the current procurement policy, revised it. Most of it's just language, but there was some things that were missing in it. I did send everyone an email. Hopefully everybody got it, but the purchase contracts is just the dollar amounts have been changed to define. And so we can help, department heads can have a fine tune exactly what they need to do when they go out to purchase. The same with the public works contracts. I just fine tune the dollar amounts. I added guidelines to explain how to determine whether purchase contracts for the same like items would need to be put out for bid. Explain that better. Guidelines for documentations, for required documentations. All that has to be included now in the new material requisition that's given to the supervisor's office for approval for purchase orders. I explained piggybacking, and then I just fine-tuned the best value competitive bidding law. So it's just revisited it, made it so it was a little bit clearer for everyone to understand. Hopefully it is. We also visited the material requisition's been revised per the audit. I think that's a better format now. So we put those things together, wrote the cover letter. We're going to submit the new procurement policy and the new material requisition to the comptroller.
And at the beginning of the review on this, we had two folks from the State Comptroller's office in, and they went through their suggestions. And then we followed their guidelines to take the action Ms. Stewart went through. And then after those things were done, Ms. Stewart then contacted the Comptroller's office again to review their notes, her notes, to see if the items that we were addressing followed the suggestions that they presented to us. So now the other item, just for clarification of the board, they were looking for more I'm going to call it documentation on resolutions. And if you note on most of our resolutions now, we specifically put things like, what county or state bid we're going with, so that we have a very clear transactions and the paperwork that goes with it, so that we're following specifically their guidelines. Further questions on this item? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Yes.
Counselor Hart,
Yes.
Counselor White,
Yes.
Counselor McCallum,
Aye.
Supervisor Meyer.
Yes, item is adopted. That's the regular agenda of the meeting. The next item is discussion. One item that touches every resident in the town is trash collection. And for all of you who have been kind of following this whole issue, not just locally, but nationally, a lot of the trash that we have generated in our homes every day, in particular recyclables, are no longer valuable. Actually, they have a negative value that's changing the entire trash business. This is an item that comes up on the conference calls that supervisors have. It isn't just, our issue. It's all across the state of New York. It's an item that, again, is coming up. We have a contract coming up this year, and so that we'd have an opportunity to have full disclosure and full public input and participation on the board. I'm calling a special town board meeting for July 8th, 6:30 p.m. in particular to talk about the trash issues. As you all know, we have brush items coming up also this coming year. So I'm hoping to get the board's input and the public input on those. But right now, just to handle the trash and the trash contract. So that being said, that's my item. And I'm opening up for any other board members to have discussion items.
Did you have a couple other items on your list that you wanted to talk about, special town board meeting?
Yeah, we have a couple other items. I just hit the main one there, Judy. I'll put out in the detailed item. We'll do abstracts. We have bills to pay. We have the cruelty contract. We have that together. I don't have the contract. I have verbal from SPCA, so that's good news. We'll get that done. And I'm sure we'll have a couple other items, hopefully not emergencies, but if they come up in the next day or so, we'll put those on. But, we have a holiday weekend coming up, so we're trying to keep it condensed for the residents and frankly, for all 5 board members.
When do you think it's going to be possible for us to physically set up our board meetings again, seeing as we're allowed 25 and we have the whole room, that we should be able to start having our board meetings again physically?
It's an excellent question. That's being brought up directly and indirectly as I'm looking out here right now, because we have some of our justice court activity in this same room. Once you spread out and follow the 6-foot distancing as well, I can only see 6 chairs. So by the time you take the 5 board members and the clerk and maybe Mr. Jermaine and any of the other folks who are directly involved in the meeting, looks like right now, Judy, we're looking at about 6 people to have the distancing. So I don't see any immediate, anything immediately when we're going to be able to do that, because also, as you know, if we're going to have public hearings, it isn't really a good idea to have where we have the people literally outside and can't hear. If we're doing it virtually, at least they'll be able to get the information they can report in, and we can have an extended public hearing. But I'm rather uncomfortable having public hearing and have a lot of people outside the door and not be able to listen or participate. So.
Well.
Hey, Bill, sorry, Judy.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
We've been historic already this year. Why don't we think about having a meeting outside? It was a joke, half of it not. I think it'd be kind of cool. So.
Well, they have church. Church has been outside. They've had outdoor church.
So Mr. Jermaine and I have had a couple conversations on this, and right now with the 6-foot spacing, it's a bit of a challenge, but we are thinking about it, and it is an item that comes up in other towns. So we're trying to brainstorm with other municipalities to see if we can learn from each other.
Well, I just had a thought too, because we have those, they're not permanent plastic plexiglass shields in the offices that could be moved to separate us as well, because they're portable.
Yep, some of
So,
them are, yep.
but anyway, I just think that something to look forward to, because it's becoming a pandemic for all of us to try to operate in under these circumstances. I think it's becoming very stressful.
I agree. I'm fighting this of making this the new normal. I'm resisting that sense. I agree with you, Mrs. Boyke.
Well, and you know, they said phase 4 is entertainment, and that's what we are. So I think that, I think
Okay.
we should be able to go.
Okay, thank you. Further items from the board?
I just think the biggest problem is that room is small. If the room was much bigger, sure, we could all get in there.
We do
Large
front,
room.
up in the dais and down below. We can do it.
Yep.
Anyway, just a thought.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I see both sides of the argument. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's Bill, I under everyone, Bill, Nancy, Judy, and John. I personally think that we've done a really good job handling all of this. And whenever something comes up, you know, people had questions with the public input and what did we do next meeting? Bill made sure all of that got announced to the public. So you know, we're all working. It's, you know, everybody else is. I mentioned the outside half as a joke and half as I just think the sun's shining down on everybody. Hopefully it'll be a sunny day. It's going to be nice to do, but again, not necessity.
We've had some very constructive comments from Mr. Carp and Ms. Bacallo on trying to expand our notice policy. And I'm hoping we can continue some ideas in that regard, because I would like to expand the base. But as I think you heard me say, I didn't really want to change the rules in the middle of a public hearing on a zone change. But I would like to at least think about expanding the notification to more residents. So I'm looking for your input on that item. I think it's important. Any further items for this meeting? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting would be the July 8th meeting. Do I hear?
Motion.
I will second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Good meeting.